Hey Russia, yeah, yeah.
It's over, yeah, huh. Hey Russia, you motherfucker, did you really think Ukraine would be a sucker? Another bitch you could suck and then chew. I spit it out like every other bitch you used to. But not this time, though, cause this SMO is just another name for failure. What a shit show, the world is wiser. You paper tiger, your federation's breaking up. We will divide ya. Get out, get out, get the fuck out of here. Get out, get out, cry me a river, not a tear. And you're done, you're looting. You try to take what isn't yours with your 3-day war. Well, how's it working out for you? Is it going to the plan? Did the lifts inside your shoes make you feel a bigger man? And now your fleet sunk, you little street punk. It's at the bottom of the sea, a rusting pile of coral junk, just like your bomber fleet. It's a strategic joke, trapped inside the spider web, slowly going up in smoke. Get out, get out, get the fuck out of here. Get out, get out, cry me a river, not a tear. In kindergarten, civilians in their homes, churches, shops, and market stalls. Your missiles, bombs, and drones. Your pregnant women, you don't care. Sleeping children too. You kill for money, nothing else. Your mothers must be so proud of you. So many war crimes for you to do time. The Hague is rolling out the carpet for the red slime. You're such a user, corrupt abuser. Your economy is toast, you fascist loser. You know it won't last. Your time is long past. So take your oil and gas and stick it up your ass. And now the end game will bring the real pain. The final word you ever hear, glory to Ukraine. Get out, get the fuck out of here. Get out, get out, cry me a river, not a tear. Get out, get out, take your bullets and your fear. Get out, get out, no one wants your rusty. You're just a liar, the world's pariah. Imperial rebuild was your desire, but now it's too late. You didn't calculate that we are so much stronger than your fear and your hate. My damn was just a start that set us all apart. A passion built on freedom, man, it's coming from the heart. So learn your lesson, we'll take it back then. It's 1989 all over again. Get the fuck out of here. Get out, get out, cry me a river, not a tear. Get out, get out, take your bullets and your fear. Get out, get out, no one wants your rusty me. It's over, it's over, you're home before it's too late. It's over, it's over, there's nothing left to debate. It's over, it's over, time to desist and cease. It's over,
Guten Abend, my dear friends. Happy coffee, everyone. So good to see you. So first of all, I want to address Google man who actually noticed that the image in the thumbnail is AI generated, which freaking is. Actually, I'm testing the new Slav face AI. I literally made 40 pictures of me sitting like this. Because generally, when you think about and when you look at other thumbnails at other channels, everybody like, oh, this solution will help Ukraine defeat everyone, or like, yeah, Ukraine received 10 gazillion Patriot missiles. Like, I don't like that stuff. I like my stuff, straight and Slav face. So, you are completely right about that one. Not sure if I will use it, but I will see. So good to see you, my dear friends. Immediately, I want to remind everyone that we are supporting since yesterday. We are supporting the 25th Air Assault Brigade. All the best wishes, my greatest love, the most positive rays of love and appreciation and respect to amazing people from Cardiff Oblast. Guys, you are absolutely legendary as always. We are standing with you, my dear friends. Legendary Cardiff, you are always in our hearts. Yeah, so returning to our topic, just to remind you, we keep supporting the 25th Air Assault Brigade. I hope my guys won't be too jealous about this, but generally they don't watch my channel anyways. So let's just remind what was it all about.
We are the paratroopers from the 25th Brigade. Every day, ground drones save lives at the front line. During the previous months, ground drones provided by the UAO saved lives of our wounded soldiers and enabled zero-line logistics. We send greetings to the operator Starsky YouTube channel and are grateful that you joined the critical fundraiser for more life-saving ground drones. Thank you for your support, and Slava Ukraini.
25th Air Assault Brigade is amazing and legendary. We were together with them in Rubizhne and kicked ass big time. We have now, I will find this picture actually, our guys together, sharing patches with those guys. And basically, I consider them my guys as well, because they are also Ukrainian soldiers and I have nothing but deep respect to them. How many coffees did I have today? A lot. And this cup is actually huge. Besides that, I want to announce something really cool. So we launched the Discord server. What the hell is Discord? Discord is like this social media slash messenger slash server slash community where you can join different servers. And now this channel also has one, because first of all, good guys gotta stick together, we gotta keep in touch, and also you can find or share a lot of different things on our Discord. I don't have it here to show you, but trust my word, all right? So you can share your food, of course. We can talk about food. I already decided that I will be posting all sorts of my food porn there on a separate channel. It will be also dedicated to fresh cases of magnificent Russian cringe, disinformation, technologies, military, just chat, most probably gaming as well. And also because we have this segment called Magnificent Russian Cringe, recent events actually pushed me to creation or like developing a concept of a similar segment but dedicated to Trump. And I actually struggled how to call it, all right? And thanks to Similis, they're in the chat as well, by the way. So thanks to him, we decided to call it which translates as daily dose of dismal dementia dawn department, which I think is absolutely fantastic. That is not on Telegram, my friends. That's literally Discord. So you need to download the Discord, install it, and register, and basically use it. There's a lot of different communities. There's community of Ukraine Matters. There's like millions of those communities. And also we can have voice chat from time to time, I think that's also really, really cool. So guys, welcome to my Discord channel. That will be literally the place where you can harass me, when we can torture to each other with food porn and stuff like that. Discord is too curious of users' personal information right now. I don't really know, all right? I don't really know about this one. My personal information, they have my phone. That basically is. Discord should come with a warning. It can easily rob you of an hour or two of time. Absolutely. Absolutely. But on the other hand, like I think John Lennon said that the time that was spent with pleasure was not wasted, right? I think it was John Lennon. I hope it was him. Anyways, so let's jump straight into the most recent updates. I don't know, most probably I will start from the Russian cringe, because why not? We have some of that. This bearded degenerate that you can see on your screens is Alexander Dugin, Russian so-called ideologist, fascist, the dude that Tucker Carlson is absolutely crazy about. Tucker Carlson loves Dugin. He considers Dugin Russian genius. In fact, Dugin was known for being a member of Russian neo-Nazi organization called Black Order of SS and things like that. And now he basically teaches the Russian society on how to be fascist. So I will translate this one for you, because recently Dugin said, forget about freedom from the state's control. It's utopia and treason. The propagandist Alexander Dugin, in his very, very own Telegram channel, said that Russians should accept the inevitability of state control and actually help Russian state to conduct this control. He says the idea that nobody at all controls us is, of course, very fresh and very beautiful, but it's utopic and unrealistic, and generally it's also treacherous idea. It's idea of a spy, he says. And he also added that in case of war, such control must be especially strict. And I am not surprised at all, because you can ask anybody, they will tell you that Russia is an authoritarian state where all sorts of Russian services, secret services, intelligence services, they are directed on the inside, into the inside of this country. They are directed at their very own citizens. And do you remember when Edward Snowden ran to the Terrorist Federation? All right. Why can he still use the Telegram? Well, that's basically the reason why he uses Telegram, why he has this privilege of using Telegram, basically to spread all that bullshit. Do you remember Snowden, who ran to Russia from the same state's control in the United States, and he tried to spread the awareness that United States agencies are following the citizens and their freedoms are being suppressed? Where the hell did he run to? He ran to like the most democratic country in the fucking world. He ran to Russia. But generally, I understand why he did that, because he actually had a very, very good opportunity to pass all this experience of following citizens and stuff like that to Russian FSB and other secret services to even improve this process of following, observing their very own Russian citizens. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Naftogaz, that's a huge state Ukrainian company responsible for oil and gas and everything else related to this. Naftogaz won a case against Russian Gazprom worth $1.4 billion in Switzerland. And the court denied the attempt of Gazprom to cancel the arbitrary decision from 16th of June 2025. And this decision actually obliges Russian company to pay Naftogaz the debt that they owe us for transporting the natural gas plus percent. The rule of law, my friends, rule of law. Something that is very, very underestimated these days. People wearing red hats, for example, don't give a fuck about rule of law, but that will be something that destroys them on the first place. Trust my words. I'm not making up anything. Read Darwin. Another interesting thing that I wanted to direct your attention to is actually Olympic Games, and not only Olympic Games, where, as you know, Ukrainian teams were deprived of right to wear blue and yellow uniforms and stuff like that for absolutely unknown reason, but generally we all understand why it happened. But also the Paralympic Games, where actually Russian invaders who lost limbs, all right, they weren't improved somewhere in the tree line, they just lost their limbs due to good Ukrainian drones, good Ukrainian shells, missiles. They also took part. So Ukrainian journalists actually investigated this, and I will read you just a couple of names, all right? We have a bunch of Russian Paralympic athletes that took part in the invasion of Ukraine. They have Artemy Repkin, he's a colonel. They have Dmitry Borisov, captain, Anton Lishik, the Unteroffizier, right? Andrei Robinsky, Bator Dagbaev, Alexander Kozunov, they're all privates. They lost their limbs, their health, in the war against Ukraine, and then they were invited proudly waving their flag to the Olympic Games, which literally reminds me something similar, all right, from the history of humankind, 20th century. I believe we've seen something very, very similar, my friends. We keep saying never again, but unfortunately this shit happens again and again. So another update that I wanted to share with you, okay, we talked about Trump already. So according to President Zelensky, Russia passed Iran drones and intelligence data about the bases of the United States in the Middle East. According to Ukrainian president, the Russians are using Iranian licenses that were used to build a huge number of drones, and they passed those drones. So again, do you remember literally last week, I believe, we talked about this, showed pictures of, first of all, Russian parts that are used in the Iranian drones, and also Iranian drones with Russian markings, Geraint 2, all right? So it was not like the freshest information, but Ukrainian leadership is constantly trying to deliver this information to the White House, but it's very, very hard for obvious reasons. Again, quoting Donald Trump, Zelensky is the last person on earth that they would need any help from, all right? Another interesting update comes from Japan that actually considers the idea of receiving Ukrainian interceptor drones and maybe some other specific drones in exchange for the Patriot missiles, because Japan is one of the few countries that actually has license to produce those missiles. So I believe that it will be very, very beneficial for both countries, in my personal opinion. Besides that, I promised that I would actually start this from the Russian cringe, right? This one comes from United 24. That is literally the reason why we don't want Russian mir in Ukraine. And basically, I believe you don't want this Russian mir anywhere else either, right? Because on your screens you can see like literally an ordinary day in the terrorist federation, the Russian terrorist wearing 4 different types of camouflage. All right, I'm not even counting the camouflage on his backpack. 4 different types of camouflage, and trying to merge with this carpet is generally drinking something that I think is like bayarishnik, all right? The dude is literally having fun, and you can see this absolutely amazing Russian Novostroy on the background. How to translate it, my friends? I don't know. The amazing Russian presidential complex, okay, that I'm sure Tucker Carlson is dreaming to live in, or we know that Tucker Carlson promotes this idea that Americans should actually learn from Russians. Americans should do what Russia does because Russia is so amazing. And basically, that is literally Tucker Carlson sees you, all right, lying there on the carpet and drinking bayarishnik. Bayarishnik, by the way, is not really good for your health. So that's another Russian cringe, the one with the toilet I showed you yesterday. And frankly speaking, I just don't know how to comment this, all right? But besides that, yesterday Trump again addressed his base. He said that Biden gave Ukraine military equipment and money worth $4 billion. First, he was talking about $300 billion, now 350, and yesterday he talked about already $400 billion. How exactly those money grow, I literally have no idea, and where exactly he finds those numbers. Again, I have no idea, but I already debunked that stuff. And what is the reality? Just to remind you, Biden approved $67 billion worth of military aid to Ukraine since 2022, and approximately $49 billion humanitarian aid. And of course, today there is absolutely no evidence that United States somehow paid Ukraine $400 billion. Those numbers only exist in the drunk imagination of Donald Trump and his fans. Why is he mentioning those numbers? Because he wants to use this as leverage or as a tool to pressure Zelensky on the negotiations, because the bigger the number, the bigger the pressure, according to this 5D chessman, all right? But actually, there is still some weaponry and equipment that still wasn't delivered to Ukraine. That is approximately $30 billion that were meant to be delivered in the upcoming years, all right? So publicly, Trump is playing the role of a person who stopped wasting money At the same time, only in like several days of war in Iran, he wasted like 1/10 of what Ukraine received in 4 years. All right, which is something absolutely freaking insane. Switching to European news, my friends. Chancellor Merz already said that the 90 billion euro credit to Ukraine was already approved. And he also said that he hopes that it will be paid out very, very soon because Ukraine needs those finances very, very much. As you know, Ukraine currently has a lot of problems with destroyed infrastructure, destroyed energy grid, and basically a lot of Ukrainians still struggling, especially in Kiev. And also, Chancellor Merz said that they should adopt the 20th package of sanctions against the terrorist federation as soon as possible, which I completely accept and approve. As a Ukrainian, that is something that has to be done very, very fast. We have some fresh update coming from the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry that informed about the current state of the negotiations between Ukraine, United States, and the Terrorist Federation. So currently, according to the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry, the negotiations between those three countries are paused because of the situation in the Middle East. And despite that, the teams speak and communicate with each other almost every day. But because Trump is very, very busy distracting the attention of its citizens from Epstein scandal in the Middle East, in Iran and other countries of the Middle East, those negotiations are kind of paused. Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, during the mutual press conference with Zelensky, said that they plan to deliver 1 billion euro worth of military aid to Ukraine in 2026. He said that part of this help will be financed via EU SAFE, and it will be directed to improvements of mutual production together with the Ukrainian defense industry. Also, some of the equipment, according to the Spanish Prime Minister, will be delivered very soon, which is great. We have some crazy footage coming from not Ukraine, but Qatar, that is an oil refinery, Ras Laffan, that was destroyed and caught fire after the Iranian strike. And oh my God, you might ask yourself, why the fuck am I staring at this UFO, this flying saucer? So, of course, if you are Trump, you will do a lot of things to distract attention from Epstein scandal, right? Like attack Iran, attack Venezuela, dance naked, do all sorts of crazy shit. Okay, post cringy videos in the social media, post some crazy rambling in the True Social, and yada yada. Besides that, you can do things like, for example, creating websites dedicated to alien investigations. So today, the United States government, and I feel very cringy when I say United States government, I want to call it Trump administration, actually, registered a domain name called aliens.gov. Because Trump, I believe it was last year, Trump announced that he ordered his services to actually reveal all the information about aliens, again, because apparently he wanted to distract attention from Epstein stuff, and of course, because aliens don't exist, nobody has revealed fucking nothing, all right, besides several videos that were debunked. But or like whatever, you cannot tell really what is on those videos. But the Epstein files are actually very, very real, and the fact that Donald Trump's name is mentioned in those files many, many thousand times is also very, very real. So Trump registered aliens.gov, where they will most probably expect to publish some information about aliens, UFOs, because if you my lady just said that he wanted to distract attention from Epstein files with war in Iran. Now he wants to distract attention from failing war in Iran with aliens, which I think is kind of legit, all right? Just a couple of words, all right? I mentioned this yesterday. So they started inviting different ufologists, different, actually very, very notorious people to the United States government and Congress to talk about aliens and shit. And one of those absolutely amazing cases that yesterday I sent you a link to this one. One of those absolutely amazing cases is actually this one. So Louis Elizondo was invited to the hearings in the United States Congress, where he showcased a picture of what was kind of considered a huge 1,000 feet long flying saucer hovering over Earth, and it was allegedly shot on camera by a civilian pilot. And here is like a close-up, all right, of the picture that he presented in the Congress. The dude stands there in the United States Congress showing a picture of UFO, and he says, "This is flying saucer, my friends. This is seen, observed every single day by the civilian pilots, but we don't have services where we can actually address this information, report this information and stuff like that." And there are people from the Congress, actually serious people. So again, I will show you the close-up of this stuff, all right? Like, of course, at first glance, it looks like a very, very big flying saucer with the shadow, and there's like those two roads. So it took like less than a day for the international community, for the internet community, to geolocate a specific place where this picture was taken. And even from the shape of it, I believe that you can tell that they were not photographed by a civilian pilot. They were like, this photo was literally snatched. How do you call it? It was literally a screenshot from Google Earth. Nothing more. And that is not a flying saucer, my friends. You can see the coordinates, so you can find it yourself. And that is literally two fields over there. All right. No spaceship, no aliens, not even a drunk hallucination. That is literally two fields. Please check out these coordinates, find them yourself. And the dude was proudly showing this photo in the US Congress. I don't know how to comment on this, my friends. Please let me know in the chat, all right? Because I really want to know your very own opinion on this. So the problem is when degenerates allow degenerates to spread bullshit in front of serious people in the Congress. They should also remember that there are people who don't buy this bullshit and they can actually fact check things like that. All right. Oh my God. Sorry, I need to take a sip. J.D. Vance, the famous mascara man, departed to Hungary to show his support to all the right people. You know, we know that current Trump administration is supporting very, very much all sorts of far-right neo-Nazi people, all right, in the European Union, and the mascara man actually went to Hungary to show his support to Orban because the new elections are coming very soon, and actually there is a very big chance that Orban will get, how to say it, fucked, all right, by his opponent, who actually is pro-European. He supports Ukraine, and he's currently, according to the poll, is far ahead of Orban himself. So J.D. Vance is known for calling AfD again during the elections. He literally likes communicating with all sorts of degenerates and Russian fans, all right? For reasons I cannot explain. Maybe you can. That is a strike in Riyadh. Actually, Iranian ballistic missiles attacked the capital of Saudi Arabia, which is again something very, very crazy. My lady also follows the updates from Iran and around Iran, and she said that basically after the most recent strike, the Khamenei regime, which by the way didn't change, all right, it's still ruled by Khamenei, a bit different, but still Khamenei. So they said that if there is no economy for Iran, there will be no economy for anyone. And they started striking oil refineries in the neighboring countries, which is something absolutely crazy. Also, one of the most recent updates, again, comes from the United States, unfortunately, where Director of the National Intelligence of the United States, Tulsi Gabbard, and also allegedly Russian spy, actually said that Russia keeps advantage in its invasion of Ukraine, and it will continue fighting in Ukraine until its goals are reached. Let's hear what she says.
He assesses that Russia has maintained the upper hand in the war against Ukraine. U.S.-led negotiations between Moscow and Kiev are ongoing. Until such an agreement is met, Moscow is likely to continue fighting a slow war of attrition until they view their objectives have been achieved. During the past year, the IC assesses that Russia has maintained the upper hand in the war against Ukraine.
Спасибо very much, Agent Gabbard. Here is your medal straight from Kremlin. You know, Yanukovych ran to Rostov. Bashar Assad ran to Moscow. Do you actually see some of American people that are currently like top managers in the United States actually keeping company to like Yanukovych and Bashar Assad? Let me know, because we cannot exclude such possibilities either. And switching to some more of Russian cringe. Recently, some of the Russian degenerates in the social media stated that there are Terminators actually fighting against the Russian terrorists. This is Gulag, the Russian community. So after being fired from the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, and Liberal Democratic Party of Russia is not actually, it's neither liberal nor democratic, that's actually Russian fascists, all right? So Andrei Svintsov stated during his stream that Terminators are now fighting against Russia. According to this Russian degenerate, at the front line there are two such machines, all right, like T-800. Guys, I think that we need like the AI generated picture of T-800 with Ukrainian patch, all right, on the Discord. So according to this dude, already two Terminators are used at the front lines. They massively eliminate Russian terrorists there. Of course, it's not like T-1000 yet, but soon. Who knows? All right, maybe we will see that as well. Let's hear what he says, and of course, I will be translating this for you.
Первые два Терминатора, ну, фильм «Терминатор» смотрели, да, то есть полностью такие железные бойцы, которые сейчас против нас уже воюют на передовой.
Oh, the dude says, have you seen movie Terminator? So, two such machines made out of metal are already being used there at the front lines fighting against us.
То есть это все. Тот фильм «Терминатор» 1984 года, вот вчера он стал реальностью.
He says, the Terminator movie of 1984, really? He even knows the year. He says the Terminator movie of 1984 actually became reality already. But again, my friends, I'm not surprised because everything hates fucking terror Russia and Russian terrorism, including SkyNet.
Вот первые Терминаторы приехали и воюют против наших бойцов.
The first Terminators arrived to Ukraine fighting against our Russian glorious fighters.
И нам кровь из носу
я честно, я не очень понимаю, про что какие терминаторы.
The host of the stream actually says, dude, I don't really understand what sort of Terminators you are talking about, sir.
Ну, посмотрите в интернете, ну, обычные такие, вы что, не знаете, что сейчас такие человекоподобные роботы выпускаются десятками тысяч в Китае и в Соединенных Штатах.
And the dude replies, well, I'm talking about Terminators, you know, like humanoid robots. They produce them massively. Tens of thousands of those humanoid robots are already being produced in China and other countries.
А они на Украине сейчас или?
Да, они уже первые образцы, первые два образца приехали на Украину, уже воюют против нас.
And the host asks, so are those Terminators in Ukraine now? And the dude, again, my friends, that dude is representative of Russian Gosduma. He's like member of Russian parliament, all right? He says, yes, those two first Terminators are being delivered and tested in Ukraine against Russian Витязи.
А там жидкие
терминаторы? Нам сейчас
там из второй части жидкие терминаторы или железные?
Нет, пока еще, я так понимаю, таких технологий.
So the dude also giggles, like the host. He also asks, like, what sort of Terminators? Like liquid metal Terminators, or like from the second part of the movie? He's like, no, we don't have such technologies yet, but like the iron Terminators are being already used against Russian troops on the Ukrainian front already. Basically, everything is possible when you either lie or fucking drunk, okay? That is why I'm not surprised at all, my dear friends. Terminators, oh my god. Sorry, I need to take another sip because I just... when I read or listen or like watch that stuff, first I laugh a lot, and I laugh until I start fucking coughing. And I'm coughing, but still not in coughing, so coffee helps. Do you want to know what the Russian economic experts actually say about Russia itself? I think you might be actually very interested. There is an Institute for Agricultural прогнозирование. Institute for the Agricultural Forecast in Russia said that during the first half a year, during the first half of 2026, the growth of Russian economy will equal actually zero. And this forecast was cited by the Russian media called Kommersant. Okay, I'm not sure why the editor of Kommersant is still alive. He wasn't sucked out into a window, but maybe that will be the case soon. That is literally according to Russians themselves. The institute published forecast that actually predicts slowing down the process of accumulating the capital from 0.3% in 2026 after 1.7% in 2025, and states consumery, all right, will also lower together with that. So those are forecasts coming straight from Russia. Not like I'm not making anything up. I'm literally quoting Russians themselves, because they kind of, like very, very carefully in the media start actually mentioning things like that. Growing prices, the upcoming crisis, and all that goodness that expects the Russian terrorist population in the upcoming years. And I'm not even mentioning things like paying reparations. Whew, this one was actually very good. So, what else do we have? Okay, we will talk about Trump just a bit later. Please remind me if I forget about this. According to legendary Madar, chief of Ukrainian unmanned flying objects, all right, Ukrainian UFOs that improved quite a few Russians after the since the last day. He said that yesterday in the area of Zaporizhia, approximately 900 Russian terrorists became better people. They will not be attacking anyone. They will be lying down quietly and fertilizing Ukrainian tree lines and sunflower fields. But the fact is, the thing that makes me want to giggle and laugh like crazy, actually, I cannot do it anymore. So he said that yesterday Russians on horses, and I believe that we will see this footage already very, very soon, all right, because they edit that footage and upload it actually very, very operatively, right? So he said that yesterday Russians on horses tried to use the cover of fog and attempted an assault in the area of Zaporizhia, trying to break through the defense. According to Madar, the Ukrainian armed forces improved the Russian cavalrymen while they were approaching. Not a single breakthrough was made there in the area. Oh my fucking god. Russians on horses. Oh, yesterday we talked about this, my friends. Yesterday we talked about Russians in Hostomel, in those cringy sneakers, launching UAVs. And Kyiv was under siege. I can tell. I drank coffee in the area, Kyiv was under siege. Russians were making 1,200 square kilometers per day. And today there are no Russians in Kyiv Oblast. I mean, they might be there, all right? But you will not see them wearing, thermal optics. I can guarantee. But again, according to Tulsi Gabbard, Russia is winning this war. Russia is so successful in winning this war. So, they are not even closer to Kiev than they were in 2022 for some absolutely unexplainable reason. Oh, that's so crazy. And Russians were launching UAVs. You remember all those like columns of Russian tanks and APCs and those barrages of Russian artillery. 40,000 shells shot every single day at Ukrainian positions. Where are they now? Except for imagination of Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump, I have literally no idea where they are now, but we will very, very soon see them on the footage of Madyar attacking Ukrainian position on horses. Was it Albert Einstein who said that I don't know which weapons will be used in World War III, but in World War IV, people will be using like stones and spears or something like that. Apparently, we're already there, all right? I don't know how we missed the World War III, but we already see some people, bringing back the best practices of like guns and francs, all right? And like very, very soon, of course, we will see a return of Greek phalanx, maybe Roman centurion. Actually, no, I don't believe in Roman centurions. Russians will never be using them because they are too fucking dumb. Being a centurion actually requires some skills, all right? They don't need that stuff. Holy Jesus Christ. Oh my God. What I wanted to share with you. So, one of the journalists of NBC actually asked a bunch of people what do they think about Trump. And I never thought, I could never imagine that on my channel I would be actually talking about Trump so much. But there must be channel operated by a Ukrainian dude who actually talks about this, all right? Because I am not a politician, I am not a diplomat. When I see an imbecile doing crazy shit, I will, of course, address it, all right? I don't believe in diplomatic language. I am sorry. So we have an NBC journalist who talked to some of the people who voted Trump. All right, and this is what they said.
Trump here, and not everybody's planning to vote for Republicans in the midterms who supported Trump. Let's take a listen to one more woman who we spoke with. If you could say something to President Trump and he was going to hear you right now, what would it be?
You are a worthless pile of
Oh my God. I am applauding to this lady because she had enough courage to actually say what's on our mind. All right, let's hear her one more time.
If you could say something to President Trump and he was going to hear you right now, what would it be?
You are a worthless pile of
And you voted for him how many times?
3 times. That was my bad. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
Holy duck! What can I say? I love people with self-criticism. I absolutely admire people who can admit, the fact that, yes, I did some crazy fucking shit. Ooh, this one was good. This is something that Trump will, of course, call fake, when he sees that. But she's like, this lady is my friend. I absolutely agree with you. She's very, very sweet. And I just love this stuff. The biggest problem, my friends, there's actually 2 biggest problems. Problem number 1 which I will address in just a second because I already see that people are joining our Discord. All right. How many of us are here on the channel? We already have 27 members. That's like a platoon generally. So the biggest problem is that people, in the end, after voting three times, she goes out and she's like, apparently I'm an idiot. Well, I won't disagree with you, my dear lady, because apparently you are. The biggest problem is that we don't think in advance, okay? We rage vote. And that's not just a typical problem for United States or any other country. In Ukraine, we had the same, all right? The typical example is Orange Revolution, all right, 2004, 2005, when Yanukovych was massively forging elections and people went on the streets and there was a trial and people won and pro-European President Viktor Yushchenko won the elections and stuff like that. And because he was fucking... It's not good to call him retarded. He was not qualified enough, all right? So, guys, please let me know the correct adjective, all right? Because of that, he literally brought all sorts of pro-Russian degenerates that actually brought Ukraine to the war, all right? That were the reason why we had the Revolution of Dignity and later the war. Okay, so we had that in Ukraine. I can see the same stuff happening in the United States. I would really like to see more people being, more critical and thinking in advance, all right? Because I read absolutely ridiculous and angry commentaries on my channel included, where people from Germany, for example, say, I will vote AfD just because I want to show my protest. If you want to show your protest, fucking take off your clothes and go outside, all right, and show your protest in front of the parliament, all right? It will count as a protest. Voting for neo-Nazi and far-right fascists, that is not a protest. That is actually treason, all right? That is treason and degeneracy, basically. That is not protest. That is something that you do only once in your lifetime because you don't have another chance. That is why I would like to see more of that. And second biggest problem, today I watched some very interesting documentary on Deutsche Welle. Documentary about orcas, not orcs, the killer whales, orcas, the proper creatures, all right? And there was a group of scientists who went to the west coast of Canada and they studied killer whales. There were several groups of killer whales. Greetings to beautiful Berlin. Hello, hello. I completely support you, my friend. So the scientists went to the west coast of Canada where they studied the killer whales because, as you probably know, they have extremely complex society, the killer whales. So they have their language, they have their traditions, and according to those researchers, they even have their dialects. So, for example, killer whales that live like in the northern part, all right, of Pacific Ocean, and those who live like 300 kilometers to the south, they kind of speak the same language, but they have different dialects. And what the scientists did, they started recording the sounds made by orcas, and they tried to feed this to the learning machine, all right, to the neural network, in order to decipher the language of killer whales. So first thing they discovered that they pronounce different words in a different way, and then they went to neurobiologist expert in killer whales' brains. We have such people. There's like a couple of them on planet Earth, who actually told them, guys, human brain is this big. Killer whale's brain is this big, all right? And orcas actually have the parts of the brain responsible for communication, expressing feelings, emotions, and stuff like that, which is unexpectedly much more complex than in humans. That's why if you want to decipher what they're saying, don't even bother, because it will be much more complicated than you think. Which was something so surprising, because like they're animals. Us humans, we do computers, all right? We fly to the moon. And it turns out that killer whales have language that is times more complex than human language. All right? And those scientists used that neural network, feeding this neural network with thousands and thousands of files to try to decipher their language. And of course, as of today, as you probably understand, it's impossible. So the biggest problem is that instead of using all of our resources trying to decipher language of species that we live together with on the same planet, we use the AI to create fakes, debunk fakes, build weapons, and Russians also use the AI helping degenerates win elections in different countries. And that is one of the biggest problems. Instead of using our resources the way we're supposed to do, all right, because we actually don't own our planet, we borrow it from our grandkids. Instead of that, we are using our resources trying to wage war, trying to, even defend ourselves. Because unfortunately, today we have a bunch of fucking terrorists who want us dead. Okay, and we are forced to fight and use amazing discoveries such as AI, amazing inventions, trying to win the race of weaponry, which is something absolutely justified. All right, because as long as there are terrorists, we should be able to defend ourselves. But how crazy is this? Guys, I will show you something that actually almost made my eyes water the other day. All right. IT specialist from Australia had a dog. So this guy, Paul, he took Rosie, his dog, from shelter in 2019. And 2 years ago, the vets found cancer in this dog. And they couldn't treat this dog. They couldn't save it. And this guy, he's IT specialist. He used AI to actually find vaccine against cancer that helped his dog. He's not a biologist. He's not an inventor. He's just a guy who can use tools properly, not trying to destroy some country's economy, not trying to use bots to win elections, not trying to spread disinformation, all right, and bullshit you about the UFOs. He developed a vaccine against cancer to save his dog, and actually he was successful. Imagine if we all could do something like that. how much change would we bring to this world? Just my opinion. I might be wrong. And the only reason we don't do this, we don't contribute 100% of our abilities, all right, in making this world a better place, is because, unfortunately, we live on the same planet, we share Earth, with a bunch of terrorist states that want us killed, all right? That's the only reason. Whom should we thank for that? But I'm telling you all that, you know why? Because we all need motivation from time to time. I know that there's a lot of people who, quit watching YouTube, for example, for a while because they cannot stand so much negative information. They cannot stand so much demoralizing stuff, demoralizing updates, and that is basically for you, my friends. We all have chance, okay? We have a lot of challenges. We're facing a lot of challenges that we have to deal with, like terrorists trying to destroy world, degenerates supporting those terrorists. Unfortunately, we have this, but despite all that, we have chance if we are more determined than they are. Because there are so many beautiful things that we will be doing when the terrorists fail, all right? That's just my message to you, my dear family. Yo, average, I didn't mean you specifically, all right? Please don't think that I'm talking about you specifically, but yeah, I noticed a lot of viewers who actually return after like 2 years and go, yikes, you are still talking on the screen. How cool is that? Hoping for my boyfriend to become a nerd and fix my what is MS? Please decipher it. My Microsoft? Mini scooter? Education is a decision. Yeah, it is. However, I would make actually a Turing test for social media mandatory, all right? Because not a lot of people will pass it. Let's be honest. I think religion is their most powerful tool. Again, religion can be weapon. It can save, it can kill, all right? Like anything else, all right? You can use your knife to cut sausage or do other things, all right, with a knife. Knife is just a tool. Knife doesn't kill. People kills, all right? Religions are the same. Religions don't kill. People do. Microsoft very vulnerable to viruses and is not secure. Invest in Apple technology. Actually, from what I can tell, recently like Windows starting, like Windows 10, Windows 11, they are not that bad, all right? They can still catch viruses, but compared to the state the Windows was at previously, like 10 years ago, when you had access to literally everything, like you were the root user from the very beginning. Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. Do you think Orban would be mad enough to attack Ukraine? I don't think that he will attack Ukraine. He will fail big time. Trust me. If he tries, he will fail big time. I don't really think that it's possible. And again, where will he go if he does that? He's trying to keep the pressure on West Ukraine. Also, he cooperates very, very closely with Russian intelligence because Ukraine, by the way, just today there was an update coming from the security service of Ukraine that actually exposed another network of bullshit directed at Hungarian population of Ukraine in the West Ukraine. So I believe that Orban cooperates with Russian FSB, GRU Gesha, GUR. Forgive me, my dear friends. GRU Gesha and basically Russian leadership trying to use this as another tool for pressuring Ukraine. I think he will fail. And generally speaking, I think as soon as his opponent, my God, Madjar, his last name, as soon as he becomes the new prime minister, Orban is like, he's doomed. Maybe we will even see him behind bars at some point. It's true Windows 10 and 11 aren't that bad, but the cost is hardware level virtualization, which is overkill, heavier than it needs to be on the resources. I agree on that. Like the very reason Apple is so cool, indestructible, and powerful, right? I'm running one right here. Why it's like that? It's literally because the software and the hardware used in this computer, they are optimized as much as possible, all right? Like Linux, Windows, you just install it on any machine with any hardware and it will work, but not as good as you would like. Okay, and despite like drivers and stuff like that, but this operational system is designed specifically for this hardware in Apple, and that is why it works so well. That's why even Linux, you know, I used Ubuntu at some point, like many years ago. And that's also another problem I found, that not everything works, okay? And because I have like pause, I wasn't really good at fixing those problems, so I just like, all right. The only alternative operational system that I recognize is SteamOS, actually. SteamOS rules. So my phone is my PC. Depends on your needs, all right? Depends on your requirements. Ubuntu was the mistake. Why? It wasn't that bad. I almost liked it. USA is going to help Orban steal the election. I really hope that it won't happen, all right? Because even despite that whole disinformation that Orban is waging all these years, by the way, since the beginning of the terror Russian invasion, despite all that, the support of Hungarians who actually want to change this corrupted regime of Orban is absolutely insane. And I believe that Magyar will easily win the elections. Would be really, really cool to actually have his commentary on this channel. SteamOS is essentially the same as Arc Manjaro with Plasma Desktop. So many unknown words, my friend. I only know SteamOS and Plasma Desktop. Feel bad that Steam is still allowed in Russia. Not for long, trust me. Soon they will all migrate to this amazing Russian Cheburnet, and we will not see them anymore, which is something I am anticipating, but of course that will be much easier for us to identify Russian bots, because all the Russian-speaking people on the internet, we will know that they are bots. I wonder how the population changes, all right, when they migrate to Cheburnet all at once. Voyager 1 and 2 travels billions of millions with half the memory of a key swap. Yeah, absolutely. Like literally, your, like, I don't know, like your electronic watch have more resources than the computer that brought Apollo 11 to the moon. Actually, if United States, if NASA back in the 60s, in the 70s, if they had something like iPhone, they could probably use that to travel to like Mars and back easily, I think. Speaking of bots, have you seen the Chinese demo of robots dancing and doing kung fu? Yeah, even more than that, I've seen like very, very recent demonstration of humanoid robot who looked basically like a lady, and this robot danced, and in order to show that it's not actually an artist wearing a costume, they removed the skin, like in Terminator, you know? They removed the skin on the leg from this robot, and like there was just metal underneath, but the robot actually moved very, very much naturally. So I think that very soon humankind is going to change, you know, when such robots emerge in our everyday life, you know. And a lot of CPU resources were used to metric to imperial Yeah. That was the ground of majority of the fuck-ups between the USSR and NASA astronauts and like their common equipment, all right? Heard they're now going back to the moon, using it as a ramp for traveling to Mars. Actually, yeah, the idea itself is really good. I agree on this. Does Discord charge a fee? No. You only invest your time and receive pleasure in return. But Discord is cool because that's actually the place where we can keep in touch, okay? That is much more reliable than Instagrams and everything else, at this point at least. I remember I was so excited to buy 128 meg memory. 128 pounds. Holy shit. Yeah, I remember. I remember when I bought like my 2 gigabyte flash drive, the USB drive, and I was holding it like, Jesus. Back at home, back in Kiev, I had this very, very old external hard drive. All right, the USB hard drive. It was like this big, and I bought it in like 2010. It contained 1 terabyte memory. Okay, and you plug it in the computer, you plug it in the electric socket, and then you plug it in the computer, and it goes boom, 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 you know, like a motorbike. It starts like humming, and it's very, very slow, but it's like 1 terabyte of memory. It's insane. I remember having 4 megs of RAM. Oh, I don't remember that. I remember having like 8. Wait. I remember having either 8 or 12. How much was that? I remember after upgrades, we had like 32 megabyte RAM. So before that, I believe we had something like 8, 16. I don't remember. Now I have 126 gigs of RAM. That's crazy, absolutely. What 128 even. What do you do with all that goodness? Do you use it for creativity or something else? Do you think Russia will be able to hold the line after Telegram being blocked from April 1st? I believe that they will find some solution, some shitty solution. Maybe they will be using topics, the field phones that they kind of use even today. So they will kind of find the solution. I don't think that the front line will fall because of that. I don't think that Russian positions will collapse, but there is a slight chance. AI and 3D stuff. Do you even need 3D stuff if you have AI? Because today, basically, you can do whatever. I remember, like when I was 18 or 20, we were sitting there with beer with my friends, and one of my friends tried to learn the 3D design in 3D Max, and we were discussing this, creating materials, and he's like, look at this, and he shows like a picture on his phone, like, look at this apple, you see it has like subsurface scattering and stuff like that. And I look at that, and I'm like, yeah, like kind of nice, HDR lighting and stuff. Today you just prompt it, okay, as easy as that. You can't do as good 3D from AI. In Blender, you kind of can. Again, depending on what you're doing, yes, you kind of can. Loudspeakers and donkey soul chargers. Springtime for Russians. Oh, Russian cavalry. Honestly, my friends, would you predict back in like 2022, 2023 that we will actually see Russians on horses, Russian cavalry charges in 2026? But according to Tulsi Gabbard, everything's fine. Russia is winning. In 2012, I bought a used compact with 2 gigabytes. I upgraded to 4 gigabyte. 2 years later, I bought a new notebook with 8 gigabyte, and now it's basically garbage. I don't know. My laptop is like 16 gig RAM. Still good. By the way, like I have 16 gig RAM and 8 gig video RAM, which is completely enough to fly Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And they optimized this bastard so well. So it's just, runs very, very smoothly. So if you guys are still hesitating, like whether you should install it or not, then please do. 24 gig VRAM video card 4090. I have 4070 and it's like 8 gig, but it's still good. I don't complain. What do you think of Greg Terry's Nava theory? What is the theory? Please remind me. I might have missed that. And my dear friends, just to remind you, one more time, please check out the link in the description, specifically this one. All right, the fundraiser for the ground drones for the 25th Air Assault Brigade, and you can find all the necessary information here. You can already see that, my God, why is it like that? We can see that people are already donating 9 donations. That's crazy. That's literally since yesterday. Oh my God, thank you so much. And also, please check out the Discord, all right? It's there, it's running. If you don't have it, give it a try, all right, guys? That's one of the best ways to keep in touch, share food porn and stuff like that. I have 32 gigabyte DDR5. I bought it early November, just before the storm. It might, I think it should have cost you like a fortune in November, because already back then, RAM would cost a lot. I have a Super Nintendo and a I don't know what that stuff is, but I prefer Jenga and Twister. Sounds nice. People's Republic of Narva annexing Eastern Estonia. That's something that we were talking about actually for years already. Since at least 2023, that yeah, Russians have quite a diaspora in Estonia, and they will not be using conventional methods to wage the war. They will use green men and all sorts of hybrid measures. So that's completely possible. Guys, we already talked about that, seriously. 2023, I believe middle 2023, we already talked about that. I wish there was a secured pipeline where we could send in designs for drones, aerial, land-based, or other. I have nasty ideas. There are communities, all right? There are quite a few of them, actually. And not all of them are good, I tell you that, because it turns out that there's quite a few people out there who just they use those communities as a pasture, all right? They harvest the ideas and then patent those ideas in the United States and make money. Those are like literal war profiteers. So Narva is the city in Estonia that is English speaking. It's an invasion point. Oh my God. I don't want to be a bad prophet, but knowing that Trump is fucking insane, everything is possible. Always fun for me when people started to talk about their first computers. My first own computer was Pravets 8C with 128 kilobyte RAM. Yes, I had the one with 128 kilobyte, I think, or was it megabyte? Couldn't have megabyte because I think that was like my whole hard drive. So that's cool. Russian speaking. I get confused who is Russian, who is the US. Well, as long as we have Trump Putin, that will be the case. Patency trolls can go swim with the orcs. Yes, but unfortunately they actually raise quite funds, all right? We talked with my brother about that the other day because he's also in like numerous communities that develop drones, and he says like, dude, there's so many of those guys. Some dude was like, listen, can you like improve this more? Like my brother offered, like shared some ideas in the community, and the dude from the United States, he's like, listen, bro, can you like improve this model and send me this like improved version? He's like, why? He's like, well, because I want to patent this stuff and, you know, sell it. My bro is like, you're not even pretending, you're not even hiding, all right? I go, bro, but he didn't fuck you up, right? He told you openly that he was gonna use your invention. What's wrong with that? I remember Freddy Fish crashing my PC. Oh, Freddy Fish, that's something from the previous life, my friend. I don't even remember much. How surprising is that in Finland we also have Vikings living in eastern part of our country. It's not surprising, my friend, because considering the fact how exactly Russians were occupying and colonizing the post-Soviet countries, the Soviet countries, right? Not surprising at all. That's basically how it works. Why we had, for example, some supporters of Russian terrorism in Donbass, for example, it's when Russians wipe out population using hunger, all right, using starvation. They kill people, and then Russian nationals move into their homes that are still warm, all right, from people living there before them. And they say that this land is now Russian land. And after decades, they take Russian flags and go on a referendum. So that's how it works. That's exactly how cancer spreads, and that's how the Russian world spreads. My brother got an Atari Amiga. My friends, I know all of those, but like back in my days, in the fucking Soviet Union, we had shit like Poisk, EVM. I have very, very bad memories, you know, related to those. Just to give you some idea, my God. Just to give you some idea, this shit is Poisk. That's Soviet computer made out of branches, shit, and toilet paper. All right, like and Ruski spirit. That stuff I still remember. I still see it in like my bad dreams, all right, poisk. And frankly speaking, looking at this, I think that it was also snatched, okay? Because, guys, who remembers things like Atari and everything else, please take a look at this stuff and tell me if it reminds you anything, all right? Maybe something that you still remember from like your days. Because that is like Russian shit. Oh my god. Looks like the early PC race. Yeah, yeah. Looks like Atari. Yes, that's what I mean. I mean, to me, it also looks like some of the things that I saw in like retro videos from the United States, all right? Looks like Dostoevsky wrote the keys in jail. Yeah. Looks like Commodore 64 trash can edition. Absolutely. This stuff, of course, was buggy like shit. Look up Pentagon home computer. All right, I can do that. What is you mean like this one? Which one? Maybe this one? No idea. This one. That's Pentagon. And there's a lot of computers right there. I've heard that some of them even have licensed Adobe, but it's not 100%. Oh, there was a wiki page. I will check it out. Floppies, yeah. Actually, you know, today floppies are not produced, but I've heard about the dude who bought like thousands of floppy disks, and he resells, all right, he resells those floppy disks to different companies. Like, if you need a floppy disk, you just contact this dude, and he has like big stockpile of them. And the question is, do people still use floppy disks? Turns out yes, because a lot of companies, for example, aviation companies, if you want to update the firmware, or you want to update the IREC cycle in an airplane, all right, or GPS, and if this airplane was produced in like 70s, all right, then you can still use floppy disks. And a lot of airlines do that, actually. A lot of companies still do. So the dude is literally, the dude is making a fortune, because the floppy disks are not produced anymore, and he has like the golden stockpile of them. How crazy is that? Black screen, green letters. Yeah, it's like I feel those like Matrix vibes. Wasn't the Soviet Union still driving Model T in the 50s? Soviet Union did a lot of crazy shit. But I will tell you one thing for sure. Soviet Union was known for actually snatching a lot of Western technologies. Let's play a game called Do You Recognize? Give me a second, all right? So, I will show you something. And you gotta let me know if you recognize anything. So, this is... I'm not sure if you remember those, okay? But this is Leningrad 1. And this is German JFUT1. That is radio receiver. But it's like old shit. All right, I understand. That's, again, Russian copy-paste of American RCA 621TS. That's a television set. Quite retro, all right, I agree. Grundig TK820 and Melodia MG56. Yes, there is a similarity, all right, I agree, considering that they look basically the same to me. Okay, only this looks like German plastic and this looks like shitty Soviet bakelite. What else? Avantgarde Grundig, okay, I agree. Philips EL3302. And this shit is Disna. I remember this one, my friends. I remember this one. I swear, I think I saw it when I was a kid. Okay. So this is German Torrents. TD125 and this is Electronica B1. Interesting. That is another like player, which was literally copy-pasted completely. Like, guys, today when you look at things produced in China, for example, like Chinese fighter jets, all right, that is literally copy-paste of Russian fighter jet, that is literally copy-paste of American fighter jet. I can understand, nobody gives a shit anymore, but when you talk about things like Russian superpower, USSR and stuff like that, that's kind of cringy. Okay, again, we have Grundig and its Russian copy-paste Electronica 301. Again, that is complete copy, okay? Why would Russians invent something if they could literally snatch it? Casio. Really? They snatched Casio? Even. Oh my god. Soviets, are you serious? Holy shit. This one I remember. I remember this one very, very well since the Soviet times. This one, I don't remember, of course, because it's Toshiba, but it's literally the same. Like, look at this stuff. Soviet Union was such a great thing. Putin cries that Soviet Union was destroyed. Soviet Union couldn't produce shit. Soviet Union had to steal everything. Literally. Because people had demands and somebody had to address those demands. That is Sony, that is recorder, all right? Sony and Electronica, again, design just like the color is different, obviously, because the materials used were different, but the design itself is absolutely the same. Only I believe that Sony had a much better microphone than this ugly Soviet shit. Yamaha. Oh, I had those headphones, my friends. Oh, yeah, I remember them. Those like were some of my first headphones, actually. YH1, I remember. They were very old, but I had them. And this is basically a Russian copy-paste. That's interesting. Okay, I will scroll down just a bit. Sony TC1 player and Voronezh 403. I am not surprised that it's even called 403. Oh my god. Philips Electronica. Jesus Christ. I wonder if they have something like oh my god, those like photo cameras. This is actually a very, very good compilation, all right? There you have Leica and Fed. What the hell is Fed? Jesus. I don't know. Yeah, we can see that Russians were snatching literally everything. Whatever is, you know, screwed or attached badly was snatched and repurposed. That is Zeiss Super Ikonta, Moskva 2. Yeah, sure. Oh my god. German Sida. Soviet Lilliput. Seriously, Lilliput. German Contax. Soviet Kiev. It's Kyiv, not Kiev, you dirty fucks. Why Russians call beautiful city of Kyiv that we pronounce like this? Why did they call it Kiev? I wanna vomit every time I even pronounce this shit. Kiev. What the hell is that? Kiev, that's the name. Hasselblad 1000F, Swedish camera, and of course, yes, Salute. Salute, my dear friends. That one is interesting. Yeah, so photo cam. Oh, I had this camera, my friends. Oh my god! Of course, I was a kid, and I had no freaking idea that it was just you know, like Soviet copy paste of Minolta. But now I know. I'm 40, and I found out. That's insane. Like literally scrolling through this stuff. That's absolutely insane. And you can still find forums of Russian photographers who say Russian photoapparat Zenit was so good. Yeah, of course, it was snatched from Germans, but who cares, right? Russian photoapparat Zorky. Jesus Christ, what sort of naming is that? So Russian Micron was actually copy-paste of Japanese Konica. Interesting. But again, not surprised. That's so insane. It's a very, very good compilation. I tell you that. Lomo. Lomo. Really? Lame. Not Lomo. Was snatched from Japanese again. What did Russia invent itself? Okay? Like literally, what did they invent? Besides I don't know, like shitty boots made of kirza. I have no idea. Electronica, sharp camera. Yes, well, first we gotta address this one, all right? Because Apple II and this one, I'm not really sure if they look alike, but I believe that this one served as inspiration for this one. But this stuff, that's Sharp Compet, and this is Electronica DD. So that is a calculator, actually. That's interesting. Misery. Yeah, I agree on that, my friend. The only shit that Russians actually invented was misery and corruption. 100%. I don't know what to add here, all right? What else? Well, yeah, Hewlett Packard and Electronica, another calculator. Interesting. Why design calculator when you can just snatch one? All right, that's Russian way, Russian world right there. Just snatch shit from other people and pretend it's Russian. Designed by Russian genius, best Russian graduates of Russian Innovation Center of Skolkovo, Polytechnicum in Ust-Pizduysk, and stuff like that. Electronica, yeah, I think I even had this one with the sun battery, all right? This one, I had it. So, yeah, this one was interesting, but frankly speaking, I wanted to see something else. Let's check this one. All right, what do we have here? Yeah, so first of all, there is very, very big and widespread myth among the Sovoks, all right, people who love Soviet shit, that Soviet Union was this rich, powerful superpower that was literally producing. You want the link, Carlito? Just a second. Oh my god, I think I closed this one, but here it is. So, guys, I will throw you the link in the chat so you could use it. So yeah, so a lot of Sovoks, actually, like Sovoks, Vatniks, they all think that Soviet Union was this like big superpower where people lived rich life and stuff. You just saw that they literally snatched everything, whatever Russian people had. Soviets actually snatched everything. And I am very much interested to see something about Russian cars. And what I found, you gotta love it. So this one is Moskvich 400. And the original car, which was Opel Kadett K38, it's interesting considering the fact that everything was snatched, including design, colors, paint, design of the wheels, literally everything. And you know, Russian Sovoks who actually grew up in the Soviet Union, they remember this shit and they will tell you that Russian innovators, Soviet people, designed this beautiful car. This one. Yes. But anyways, so Russians have this very, very famous car producer called Moskvich. Moskvich 402, and again, Opel Olympia. Again, we can see that they are completely freaking the same. Besides some, you know, like external elements of design, but generally speaking, I understand why this car was created, or specifically how. And now this one, Volga, this one is very, very famous. My friends, so if you had this painful experience of either traveling to terror Russia or traveling to some post-Soviet country, generally speaking, you had a chance of seeing this car. This car in Russia, and specifically in the Soviet times, was considered top-notch car for like Russian officials. If your daddy is driving Volga there on the screen, you could literally get scored every night with new chick, all right, every night, because your daddy obviously was either a KGB dude, like some KGB official or Communist Party official or secretary or who knows. So that is Volga the way I remember it. The way literally all the people who remember the Soviet shit and Soviet fuckery, we all remember this car, all right? This car would consume something like 20 liters of petrol per, I don't know, 10 kilometers, maybe. A lot, actually, a lot. It was thirsty like crazy. But of course, who would admit that Soviet Volga, legendary Soviet car, was actually snatched? It was copy-pasted from the Ford Mainline 1954, made in the US. Who would have thought, you know, if you show this to some Savoks or Vatniks, they would curse you because they love this Soviet car so much. And this is another Volga. This is like, so this one again was top-notch car. It wasn't car for common people, for white trash. This car was used only by like top people. This was development of this shit. Okay, you can see Volga basically in old footage coming from the USSR, all sorts of officials in the USSR, including Gorbachev and all those fuckers, they used this car. So it's not Chevy Impala, it's actually Ford Falcon 1962. The Soviets snatched everything. All right, including, because I remember that Volga had like text saying Volga here as well. Apparently it's like some of the versions that doesn't have it, but Volga generally had like text saying Volga, the logo right here. And I had no idea, because when I look at this stuff, I subconsciously I read Volga, but this is Ford, of course, Ford Falcon. I can taste the Novichok. Same here, my friend. This is such a travel, you know. Oh my God, Zaz. You can even see that the Russian plates are there, all right? Jesus. Oh my God. So this is Zaz 965. And this is Fiat 600. Johnson & Johnson, all right? Right there. ZAZ 965, that is glorious Zaporozhets produced in Ukraine, by the way, in Zaporizhia. So that is the Soviet copy that they later produced in Ukraine, in Zaporizhia, in Soviet Ukraine, let me remind you. And this stuff is NSU prints. Really? Guys, I had no idea. I literally had no idea. So, Moskvich, we are approaching something that reminds of, like Lada and stuff like that. So here we have Moskvich 2141, which was produced based on the Chrysler Simca 1308. I had no idea. I knew that it must have been snatched somehow, but I had no idea. And again, here we have Chaika, and Chaika was it was considered like legendary car back in the old Soviet Union. Old, I mean like barbaric, like the dark Soviet Union, like those years. But turns out that it was actually snatched from Packard. Again, I had no idea. Do you want us to continue? Because there's a lot of things to reveal. ZIL 111. ZIL 111 was actually the case of Russians snatching designs from themselves, because that's Chaika and that's ZIL. They just snatched the design from the rivals. All right, that's interesting. I don't know. I had no idea, but again, I'm learning a lot myself. Let me see, what else do they have? Because generally they have quite a lot of copy paste. Like there, for example, that's Ford Model A, the famous, my friends, like the automobile history started with this one. And this is Gaz A. Really? Soviets were like, let's just copy paste this shit. Okay. So Opel and Moskvich we've already seen. Ford mainline and Volga we've seen. Yes, we already checked this one. Get out of here. Oh, my friends, there it is. Yay. So this is I shit you not. If I saw this one somewhere on the French street or Italian street, I would go like, why the fuck do they drive Soviet car? Because that is Fiat, 1967, by the way. And that is famous Russian Moskvich. Famous. You can still see Russians driving this shit in Donbass and getting toasted, all right, from time to time. I would never even imagine, all right? If I saw this one on the left, I would ask myself, why the hell do they drive like Russian car? But the fact is, this is Fiat produced in 1967, and this is Russian Vaz produced, sorry, not Moskvich, but Zhiguli, the famous Lada, produced in 1972. You smell a Trabant. Listen, I saw Trabant. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not getting in that car. Never in my life. Yeah, so here we have Chrysler Simca and Moskvich. They snatched everything, including, like, guys, the design of this car, including the headlights, including headlights, including like all these elements, even the door handles, were snatched by Russians. That's crazy. Did you know that Russian Bukhanka Soviet bukhanka, sorry, was actually snatched from Jeep forward control. I didn't know that, but I just learned. How crazy is that? So yeah, here we have NSU Prince, the German one, and we have Russian shit. Sorry, Zaporizhian, but still Soviet shit. And also it turns out that NSU kinda probably copied design from Chevrolet Crov Air, but who knows? That's absolutely insane. You know, so many things I have discovered. Oh my god. Tulsi Gabbard. What the fuck is she doing on my screen? I have no idea. You know what they say, like when you're talking about something, your computer actually listens to you, all right? Like Android, Mac OS and stuff. You talk about Tulsi Gabbard and all of a sudden, bam, there she is. Who knows? Maybe it's true. I have no idea. After all, we all love conspiracies. Oh, my friends, it was a great trip. I was surprised. Time to time, I just, Google yourself copies snatched by USSR from other countries, or cars copied by USSR, or, you will find a lot of interesting stuff. She's spying on you. Yeah, especially it's like when on stream I actually asked ChatGPT how much the weapons cost. Yeah, like you remember that one. I think that they track me, definitely. Check Makarov history. Yes, that one. Oh my god, the pistol of masochist. Makarov was supposed to be a copy of Walther PPK, James Bond's favorite handgun, but in reality it turned out to be the ugliest shit possible. The ugliest shit designed by, I cannot say by human being, by Soviet being, all right? That was insane. So, my friends, with that, I will encourage you to Google more about Russian copies, Soviet copies of people's inventions that they didn't mind snatching from other countries and then pretend that they invented this stuff. All right, just like Mikhail Kalashnikov pretended that he didn't snatch the German Sturmgewehr, the German rifle, all right? He pretended that he actually designed AK-47 himself. I would also like to say big thanks to all the members of my channel, all the moderators. Thank you so much, Katya and Newman and Ellie. They helped me with, not like they helped me with Discord. Basically, they did all themselves. All right, so they just prepared it. So, my friends, please join the Discord. There, Katya is advertising it on the screen. I know that you cannot click the link. I just enjoy watching the URL on the screen. Please join. I'll see you there. We will chat there. Again, there's like community to hang out with, share your food porn pics, something else. We accept everything. And we also have a very, very cringy section dedicated to memes and specifically dad jokes, because like the reason I even decided to create the Discord server was because of the dad jokes. So you will find a lot of them there, of course. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you later. We will be ranting a lot. in the upcoming episodes, talking about, my God, 2026, we are discussing fucking UFOs. Oh, please stop this planet, I will step out. So, we'll see you later. Be safe, treat yourself with something good, and bye-bye.